Testing 1, 2. I think I'm live. I think I am live. Welcome to RockSim Live. I was typing in on the chat. I forgot that the screen was turned on, so I guess I'm here. So, thank you for being here. So, I'm gathering my thoughts. Today is December 27th, 2024. We are here at RockSim Live. It's been kind of a slow day, being Christmas week, but thank you for being here. There's a number of you here. At least they're here in the chat. So thank you again for coming. If you're not here live, you can find us live on YouTube on Fridays at 2 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. Sturko3 is here and he says, Happy Holidays, Tim. And it's been a very happy holiday. My family, we're all together. All my girls came home. And so we had the entire family here in Colorado this year. Last year, we had one missing. So they were here, and it was a good time, good time. You can tell it's Christmas when everybody talks really loud. Yesterday, I took off on Christmas, and I took off yesterday as well, and we went and spent the day in the mountains in Pagosa Springs. Pagosa Springs, if you recognize, that's where Quest used to be a long time ago. They're kind of southwest corner of the state of Colorado, near Durango and San Luis Valley. If you went to the National Sport Launch this past year and last year, it was in the San Luis Valley, which is east of where we went. We spent the day in the hot springs, and it was fun. The hot springs are right along the river, and so you can go from the hot springs into the cold plunge of the river. And I did that too many times, and now my back is killing me. I think the cold water it made my back freeze up. So my back right now is hurting pretty bad, but it'll go away in a couple days. It's not a strain or anything. I wasn't doing anything except for going in and out of the cold water in the river. The air temperature was about 25. The stream was running, so it had to been about 32 degrees. And the hot springs ranged from about 98 to 112. 101 is that sweet spot. 112 is too hot. 101 was really nice. And you can get into the hot spring, and it's kind of like, a sauna, or not a sauna, a hot tub, and without the bubbles. And it's just stinky sulfur smell coming down out of the spring, and it's hot and it feels so good, but you smell like sulfur when you get out. Don't drink the water. The river water's fine, but it was cold. Sturko3 says, just ordered RockSim 11, so all my old RockSim files, if I move them to an external hard drive, they will not be affected by the overwritten, correct? That's correct. And actually, if you had version 10 before, version 11 goes into a completely new folder. So all your old files are still in the old location. Then you'll just have to migrate them over. So yeah, you don't have to worry about anything like that. Prentice Hill here, he says, hello. We have Purple Haze, which is David from Michigan. And he says it's raining there in Michigan. Stuart LaFond from Vermont. And Carlos from overcast and breezy Marietta, Georgia. So that's who has chimed in so far on the chat. So thank you. If you have a question about RockSim Pro, or the Launch Visualizer, that's what we're here to talk about. So go ahead and put those in the comments, and I'll appreciate that. Yeah, I have nothing to talk about today except for what you want to talk about. It's been a kind of a slow week. Everybody's been celebrating Christmas. I hope you got your rocket stuff. If you got some rocket stuff, put it in the chat. Let us know what you got so we can all be drooling over it. My daughter's, I got clothes because I got all the rockets I could use. So, yeah. So where are we at? Let me open up my web browser here. And let me switch over to desktop. Okay, so I think this is playing now. Okay, so this is weird. Okay. So if you're brand new to RockSim, where do you get it? You get it at ApogeeRockets.com. This is ApogeeRockets.com is the official Apogee website. We don't have any other ones. Although this morning we discovered that somebody has been appropriated the Apogee brand and all of our content. And this is the second website we've discovered this year that is like this one. I mean, they've been using our logo and they're stealing our images. Everything is stolen from our website. This is a fake website. Do not go to it. These prices are a scam because you will not get what you order from this website because it's all a scam. All they want is your credit card number so they can go spend your money somewhere else. So what we did is, we put here at the top, we have a little banner that says Apogee's only website is ApogeeRockets.com. Any other site pretending to be Apogee are scams and are not associated with Apogee in any way. If we find out who's doing it, we're gonna sick the dogs and the lawyers on them. Yeah, because they're ruining our name. They're scamming people. They think they're ordering from Apogee, and then they get scammed, and then they come to us and they say, "Where's my stuff?" And I said, "We didn't sell you any stuff." So they are ruining our reputation, so we will go after them vigorously when we find them. That website, which I just showed you, was based somewhere in South Africa, or at least that's where their hosting company says they are. But yeah, it's not Apogee. So you get the Rockets software at ApogeeRockets.com. What we're doing now is the free RockSim training, which is you see here on our homepage. If you click on it, this takes you to our archives. We're on episode 189 today. We did do an episode last week, so this is a little bit behind. But this is our archives of all the things that we talked about in previous episodes. So you can find them here on this page. Just kind of scroll through, find out, if you have a specific question, you can ask that there, or get it answered there typically, or you can send us an email and we'll answer it. And, choose the RockSim Live from our download. If you go to our contact form, like on our website, here on the side, it says talk to a real person, and then down below it says contact form. If you click on that, it'll bring you here. Then you can send your email to, and you can choose it. You can choose RockSim General Questions and Supports right here. Launch Visualizer Questions right here. Those are the two that I would recommend if you have specific questions about RockSim, and those will go to people that know how to use the software, and if they can't answer them, they forward them to me, and then I answer them. We've been having problems with our capture recently. If you get an error, just refresh this captcha. To the right of the captcha where it says this random collection of letters, there's a refresh button, and if you click on that, it will refresh it, and it gives you a new one. And if you do that, that kind of helps to make sure that the message goes through. We're trying to get that fixed as well. We just discovered that in the last couple of days too as well. So also here on the website, if you click on how to and guides and come down here to software, you can download the free trial. You can purchase RockSim 11. Here's more tutorials. The RockSim live training, which I already showed you, is right there as well. Version history and system requirements, that's all there too. I think we had our first question from Carlos. And he says, the Estes Astron constellation has tip fins made up of 3 layers of balsa, sanded round. What is the best way, RockSim way to do that? Estes Astron constellation. I don't even know what that kit is. Astron. That helps to type it right. Constellation. Yeah, so let's type in Estes. Okay, here we go. So this is kind of like a Estes constellation auction ending. Okay, so he's got, I'm trying to find an image of this thing. View image. Okay, so it's got these like bulbous things on the tips of the fins. All right, so how do you do that in RockSim? Okay, we can try. Yes, we can try. Let's open up RockSim. Let me go to my desktop. Where's my desktop? Get this out of the way. I got RockSim Pro here, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. The desktop. RockSim 10, RockSim 11. Here we go. Let me launch RockSim 11. And we will talk about that. If you got any other questions, go ahead and put them in the comments. Stuart LaFon says, liked all your build videos on the Nike Hercules. Very cool. Also the launch. Well, Stuart, good news. There's 3 more videos that are going to start tomorrow. We discovered that there was 21 videos that were posted. And it was like the last 21 days or 20-something days. And there was 3 videos about installing the electronics. And those did not get uploaded. So we'll start releasing those tomorrow. So 3 more days of Nike Hercules videos. Okay. All right, so got RockSim open here. Let's open up a design and we'll modify the design. So that rocket, let me see, do I still have it here? Okay, so it kind of looks like an Estes Alpha. So we'll start with an Estes Alpha. And let's see if we'll go File, Open. Then you go to Rocket Design. So this is the path. Your computer, Windows, Program Files, x86, RockSim 11, Designs, and then go to Estes, open that, and do we have an Alpha? We got an Alpha 3. Close enough. Okay, so here's an Alpha, and so we're going to put the bulbous things on the tips of the fins. And so let's go to the Rocket Design Components tab, which is right up here. Okay. And I'm trying to find my fin set. Okay, so this fin set is 3 fins. And what we're going to do to create this is we're going to use a pod. So anything on the outside of the rocket that is not a fin or a launch lug, we're going to use a pod. So there's a component over here called a pod. So you see the component here on the right side. That's what we're going to use to attach that. So we're going to click on that, and it's giving us an error that says external pods can't be attached to fins that specify more than one fin. So we got this fin set, and it's got 3 fins in it, and we can only attach a pod to 1 fin. So this is what this error means. It says, would you like to split up the fin set and add pods to the first fin? And I'm going to say yes. So before, if you looked at my parts tree right here, we had 1 fin set. Now we've got 3. Now the other 2 are down here, and I can't see them right now, but they're there, and it says fin set -1. So now this pod, the location of the pod, right now, a pod is a collection of parts. And we have to say where this collection of parts is going to be added. So right now it's going to be added right there, and we want to move that position. So I'm going to take the slider bar here. I'm going to slide it to the front of the fin. I can only slide it to this point right here. But I can actually type a number here. So I'm going to type a number. I'm going to make it 3 inches, hit tab, and you'll see that it went further. And now I can back it up to the front of that fin corner right there. And then we're going to adjust the radial position too. The radial position right now, if we look at it from the back view of the rocket, so come down here to back view, you can see it's right there. I want it to be down a little bit. Because on this fin, yeah, you see that it kind of covers half the fin right there. So eventually I'm going to grab the wrong thing. I'm going to move it, but I'm not going to move it right now. So I'm just going to say okay for now. And now I'm going to add parts to this pod. So I'm going to add something that looks like this thing right here. What does that look like? What does that shape look like? So think in your mind, what does that remind you of? When I look at it right away, the first thing that I think of, well, you know what? That looks like a nose cone. So I am going to add a nose cone right there. And it's going to at least give me the front part of this shape here. So I'm going to go back here. I don't think I got all my windows. I got a window underneath somewhere. So I'm going to click on the pod. I'm going to add a nose cone. And it's looking in the database of nose cones. And I don't know how big this is, so I'm going to cancel out of the database. Or you can hit the X in the corner. Let me go back to a side view. Okay, so we're going to say this is a nose cone, and I'm going to make it elliptical. I'm going to give it a length. Let's call it 1 inch. And a diameter of, I don't know, let's call it 0.3 inches. So you can see it kind of looks like that shape that we wanted. And the material, okay, so now your question was, how do you make it when it's a combination of layers of balsa wood that are sanded round? So I am going to make it out of balsa wood so that I can match the weight correctly. So I'm going to select balsa wood, and I'm going to say solid. And I'm going to leave that alone, and I'm going to click OK. So now if you notice here on my rocket, I click on it, my shape is not on, it should be down here. That tip should be right here. So I need to move the radial position of that pod. So I'm going to do that now. So I'm going to open up the pod, go back to the radial position. I'm going to uncheck both of these. And when I uncheck them, then these become activated. So now the radial distance is from here to here, and right now it's 2.23. So I'm going to make it 2 inches and see what it looks like. So I'm going to change it to 2 and then hit the tab key. And you'll see that it moved it down, but I moved it down too far. I need it to be back up to there. So I'm going to just adjust this, maybe 2.1, hit the tab. Ooh, that's like real close. So I'm going to say 2.09. Oh, that's like, it's perfect. Okay, so now I got the front part of that cone. But I need the rounded back half here. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to click OK here on the pod. So now I got that in the right spot. And what I'll do is expand that. And I'm going to scroll down so you can see these two other fins right here. I just wanted to show you that, yes, they are there. Okay, so I'm going to have this nose cone. And now I'm going to add the back half of it. So if I click on it, here's the parts I can add. I can add a body tube, a transition, an inside tube, another pod, a mass object, or subassembly. I'm going to choose transition. So transition is, it goes from two diameters. So we're going to go from the base of that nose cone to 0 on the back end. So I'm going to cancel out of this. And I forget, what did I made that front diameter? Like 0.3 inches? Okay, so there it is. So that blue line right there, that is the pod, the front part of the transition. My rear diameter, I'm going to make it 0, and then I'm going to adjust the length. Okay, so right now I've got a conical shape. So if I want it rounded, I'm going to choose elliptical. And that's not too bad. Probably a little long. So let's make it 0.2 inches. That is not too bad. So the material, again, I'm going to choose balsa wood. And click OK. Errors detected. The rear diameter must be greater than 0. Okay, so I can't have that 0 as a rear diameter, but I can make it 0.0001, hit tab, then click OK, and it took it. So if you look at it, I'm getting pretty close to that shape here. All right, so that's the shape that I'm trying to match. And that's not too bad. Now you see this is kind of pointy here. And that's because of the resolution of my screen, I believe. So let me go to, well, first let me save this. So File, Save As, Estes Constellation Test. Click Save. Okay, so let me go to Help. No, it's not under Help. It's under Edit, because I'm on Windows. On the Macintosh, it's under the RockSim menu. But on Windows, it's under Preferences. And then go here on Preferences to 3D Rendering. And let's go click on this where it says High Resolution. And then click OK. And did it work? No. And I think it should have worked. Let me try it again. Preferences, 3D rendering, high resolution, nose counts. Okay, so let's go. Let's see if we can bump these up. Just make them bigger numbers. I think that's part of, if I go to 2D, it's right here. Let's see, that's not a bad shape. So now, why isn't it attached to the fin? Well, you're looking at the fin straight on, and we're only seeing the root edge. So there's like a better view. See, that's nice and round. That's not too bad. Okay, but that's just one of the fins. So how do I get that to all the fins? Well, I can do the same thing to all the fins, or I can just copy it. So I'm going to copy the pod, And then come down here to the other fins. I'm going to do a paste. And so to get this little menu, I right-click on the fin name and then do paste. And it pasted it, and I think it pasted it right on top. So I'm going to have to edit this pod. And now I don't know which fin I'm on. I don't want it ejected. Going back to the radial position tab. I want to look at the back view of the rocket, and I don't know which fin I'm working on. See, I can change this rotation here, and I can put one here. I'll make it minus 120 degrees, and that will be exactly where I want it. And I'll do the same thing to this fin set. So I already copied it, and it's still on my clipboard. So I'll do a right click, paste it again, and then I'm going to open the pod, go to the radial position, and this time I'm going to go 120 degrees. Oops. All right, so now if I look at it in 3D, I have the little bulbous things on the tips of the fins. So that is how to add those things to the fins. That would be the fastest, easiest way to do it. Now, you can also, I'm going to delete these fins. Delete, say yes. So I deleted one fin, and that tells me I put that one pod in the wrong spot. So this other pod here, I have to move. It should have been over here. See, I didn't know which fin, if it was going to be that one or that one, and I guessed this one. I was wrong. But that's easy to fix. Just come here and make this one a positive 120 degrees. Click OK. So now my pod is back in the right spot. You can also take one of the fins, like take the whole fin right here, and we can do a copy. You can do the copy of the fin and then paste it here, and it pasted it in the same spot. So here is fin number 1. I'll scroll down, fin number 2, and then this one is fin number 3, although it should be renamed fin set number 3-3. But then we need to go to the radial position here, and this is going to move the pod. It didn't move the pod. Minus 120. The pod stayed in the same spot. But now I would just move it here. Minus 120. Just several ways to do the same thing. And they all work. So that's how you to do the pods. So hopefully, Carlos, that answers your question. Stuart LaFont says, I just got done building my Trivecta 329 for Mach 1, a 3 by 29 millimeter cluster. My first cluster build. I'm painting part of it now. Well, cool. Alfred Indy says, I received my West Systems G-Flex epoxy for Christmas. It will replace my Rock Epoxy G5000. Cool. So, yeah, we haven't been able to get any Rock Epoxy for like forever. So, what we did was we found a substitute called G-Flex. So if you come here and you just type in G-Flex, you'll see it right here. And this is what it looks like. It's a really thick epoxy that doesn't run. So, you know, I mixed it up and I just held a glob on the glue, on the stick that I mixed it, and it just stuck there. It's really good for making fin fillets or if you need to build up a lot of thickness of epoxy. So, yeah, well, that just came in just a couple of weeks ago. We have that now. It's on the website. It shows we have 7 units in stock. So if you want some, better get it quick. But we'll get more. That's easier to get than the Rocket Epoxy was, because Rocket Epoxy was not made by a big manufacturer. Purple Haze says, how come some of the Aerotech motors don't have the propellant associated with them? All right, so if you're talking RockSim, so like if I come here, and if I go up here and I click load engines, so that button right here at the top, and then you come down here to choose engines, and you can see all the different motors. And you'll see that some of the Aerotech motors, like this one says D21, and this one says D21T. Well, that T, that last letter on the end, tells you what kind of propellant it is. So the W stands for White Lightning, the T stands for Blue Thunder, T for Thunder, Blue Thunder. And there's several different ones. If I go here to show all engines, FJ is Fast Blackjack, C is Classic. So his question is, why don't some of the motors in the list show those? And the answer is, it's because those motors were downloaded from the internet from thrustcurve.org, but the ones on thrustcurve.org, they don't always have those. So when they get automatically downloaded, some of these, like the D10, they don't even exist anymore. So, you know, you're getting motors that don't exist, and then some, you know, they just don't have them. It's not our fault. It's just because it's not in the engine data that comes in from ThrustCurve. We wanted to be able to update engines automatically so that you never have to do any work on your own part to update your databases. It just happens automatically. But the downside of that is that we don't control the data that flows into RockSim because that data comes from other sources. So it's kind of a double-edged sword. So that's why we don't have that. Purple Haze says, also, is there a fix or workaround for the fact that RockSim 11 doesn't remember some motor diameters from RockSim 10? Okay, so basically what he's saying is, if you come here to flight simulations, and you'll see here it says engine diameter. This is telling me that, you know, so here's one right here. It shows a question mark. So why is that question mark there? Well, RockSim 10 didn't have this feature of listing engine diameters. And because of that, it never actually saved the file with that old engine diameter. Well, RockSim 11, when you run a new simulation, so if I load a motor in here, choose an engine, show only the motors that match the motor diameter. So if I choose an Estes C6 and I make it a 7-second delay, click OK and launch, it's going to run the simulation, and you can see it's listing the engine diameter. There's also another column. If you right-click on the column header, you get organized columns. You click on that. You can also select the engine manufacturers. And where's that one with the question mark? Okay, so that one actually did. I couldn't remember if it was storing the name of the manufacturer as well, but it was in the past. But the new version 10 never stored the engine diameter, where version 11 does. So that's why you don't see that. And the only way to get it back is just run the simulation again. So you can choose the simulation and then just say edit. And it says, I can't find the motor. Because now that motor is an Aerotech motor, because we saw that. D10. See, oops, I clicked on the wrong thing. See, now it's associated with Aerotech. So it couldn't find the Apogee 10, but it can find an Aerotech D10. Click that and then do a launch. It runs it. And now it's down here as a D107, but with Aerotech instead of Apogee as the manufacturer. But assuming it's the same motors in your database, you just rerun the simulation and you'll get the same results. You'll get that engine diameter. I'm clicking here. Purple Haze says, doing a 29mm version of the Estes Big Daddy with birch fins. Had to spend some time learning fin design in RockSim. Big Daddy. Okay, so let me open up a thing. Let's see if there's anything special about that. Estes Big. I can't. My fingers don't like this keyboard. Big Daddy. Yeah, those are simple fins. That's a simple trapezoid fin, so you shouldn't have any problems with those. You know, because these fins right here on the Estes Alpha are also trapezoid fins. If you see the trapezoid fin, that's this one right here. I had a customer, was it last week? I think he had a custom fin that was in the shape of a trapezoid. So let me add a new fin. It's going to be a custom fin. I'm going to click out of that database. Let me squeeze this down a little bit so you can see it. And let's go to a side view. Okay, so my new fin right now is the blue one. Let's see if I can make this bigger. Okay, that's as big as I can make it. So this is the new fin. And let's make it the same shape as this other one. So you go to plan points, and I'm going to grab a corner. See what I'm doing on this corner right here? I'm trying to put it in the same spot as that other one, or close to it. And I'll do this one right here. All right, and then I need to make this one right here and move it back just a little bit. From the base of the owning part, and then go back to plan points. Base of the owning part, make that 0 inches from the base. Hit tab, and that move that fin forward. See, what I want to do is try to match this corner right here, so I need to make my fin a little bit longer. And that is here. Okay, so that's pretty good. Now I need to adjust these other ones, move these a little bit further back. Okay, so anyway, the customer's question was, he had, let me click OK, let me change this one, custom fin. I'm just calling it custom fin, and click OK. So you can, materials, I need to make it a material. Let's make it balsa wood. Click OK. Okay, so he had a fin. He had one of these fins, and he wanted to change it to a custom fin. So you notice that this fin is a trapezoid shape. This one is rounded, even though it is a trapezoid. And he wanted to take that fin and convert it to that fin so that on this fin, he could add like a radius here at the front to make it kind of swoopy looking. And he was wondering how to do that. And he could not find, for the life of him, see if it changes now. He couldn't find how to, he's opening this fin set, and he couldn't find, that chart that I had where the graph where you could change the fin shape. All we have here is these slider bars here. You can change them here. And so what I told him was, what you got to do is you got to delete these fins, delete them completely, and then add them back as a custom fin. So if you look over here on the right, we have, oh, something happened. I think RockSim just crashed. It did. Let's open that back up. And I'll take a drink. Well, he couldn't find it. So basically you have to, there's 4 kinds of fins. There's the regular fins, and those regular fins, you can see the shape of them. They're the trapezoid. The custom fins are the rounded ones, and that's the ones that you want if you want to adjust them. And so that's what you have to do, is you have to delete the old fins and add them back as a new fin. It's not that hard. What I did was, keep the old fins there, add the new fin, change the shape like I just did, and then at that point you can delete the old fins, and that way they're the same shape. Okay, so there's more questions coming in here. Purple Haze says he may do a 4-inch upscale of the Big Daddy called Bigger Daddy. That's good. Question 2 says, Carlos, sell me a way to make that shape. That was great. Sell me a way. It was easy. It was just adding a pod and then adding a nose cone on the pod. Go back. We're going to, as soon as these videos are done, they get automatically uploaded to YouTube in our live video feed. So you can watch that replay and see how to do that. Terry Wheelock says, make a Christmas tree. I think we did that. I think we did that already last year. Let me see. What happened? Let's see, if I go back here to the RockSim Live training and I do a Control F for find, let's see if we can. Yeah, episode number 148, Terry. You go here, you click on this link to YouTube, and it says Designing a Christmas Tree Rocket. If you go to 12 minutes and 26 seconds into there, you'll find how to make a Christmas tree rocket. It's not hard, it's just custom fins. Jason Horstman says, I need help operating my featherweight Blue Jay. Well, Blue Jay. So if you type in Blue Jay, you'll see the Blue Jay altimeter. Let's see if there's anything that I can help you with. Looking at this, this is a dual deployment altimeter, so you have an Apogee parachute or streamer and a main parachute and streamer. So you're going to hook up your ejection charges to these, and then here's your battery, and it has a plus and a minus, and I believe this also has a built-in magnetic switch. Yes, here at the front is a magnet, and you take the magnet that comes with it and you can swipe across the rocket and it should turn on your Blue Jay, so you don't need a separate switch with the rocket. This piece right here, and it's kind of shaped like this because it could go inside of a BT-20 nose cone. It's that small. This right here is the magnet that operates the switch. They include the magnet. You can see how small it is. It's as small as, like a hobby knife. It's tiny, and it's a dual deploy, and it records data. And so these are controlled with your phone. So you'll download the Featherweight app from either the App Store or Google Play. And that is how you set it up. this screen right here is, you're only going to have 2 of them because you're not going to have this. This is for the featherweight. Blue Raven has 4 charges. The Blue Jay only has 2. And these have to be green when you hook igniters to it. So that tells you if your igniters are good. Then you arm them and you click the little button where it says setup, and you can say if this is just main or drogue, or if it's for staging. The Blue Jay Plus, which is the version that we sell, is the staging device. So you can stage it. So you can use this in electronic staging. However, you can only ignite in the upper stage motor only Cesaroni motors. You can't do Aerotech motors. And the reason is this doesn't have the capacity to allow a lot of voltage through it in order to ignite an Aerotech igniter. So you can only use an E-match. And when you do dual deployment, that's what you're using, E-matches. But Cesaroni motors are lit with an E-match, not with a regular igniter. So E-matches take just a whiff of voltage, where the Aerotech igniters, they need like 6 or 7 volts. But these are not capable of handling that high voltage. So that's why they're limited to only E-matches. And if you're using E-matches, the only motors you can use are Cesaroni motors. But if you have any other questions, send us an email. Just go to our contact form. List your specific question, because just saying I need help, that doesn't tell me what the question is. Then we'll be able to help you. Purple Haze says, on that note, when is the Blue Jay Plus back in stock? Like I said, it's sold out right now, but he's making them a lot. These are brand new, just off the production line. We got like some of the first batches of them, and we sold out our first batch. But we do not anticipate these are ever going to be discontinued, at least in the next couple of years that we know of. So it's just a matter of we got some more on order, and when they come in, they'll be back. I don't know when, but if you click on the back in stock notification button, that will take you down here to the bottom of the pages, and this will say, notify me when they're back in stock. And if you enter your name and email address and use the CAPTCHA, this is an automatic thing. We don't even see your email. It just goes into the database of the computer somewhere in the cloud, and as soon as the quantity on this page goes above 0, our website automatically just shoots you an email that says, hey, they're back in stock. Don't delay, because if you wait too long, they're going to go out of stock again. Jason says, not sure, would have loved to have gotten written instructions and a battery hookup with it. So there is a manual here. It shows you the size, it shows you the magnet, shows you how to use the software. And just saying if there's anything important here about the hookup. Let's go to the Blue Raven. I think on the Blue Raven he does have, this is like the older sister to the, so here's a quick start guide. And this quick start, it doesn't really show you as much. I think this is what you're looking for, is where do you hook up your igniters. But the Blue Jay is simpler than the Blue Raven. It's phenomenal. We're in awe of it. It's just like modern electronics. So, yeah, it's kind of like Blue Jay. Come on, what's going on here? Yeah, it's just like if you look at it, you know, you got one igniter is going to go into the apogee charge, one going to go into the main parachute charge, and the last one is just the battery. And this one is polarity sensitive, plus minus. Igniters aren't really polarity sensitive, but this one is. And then you don't need a switch because it has the switch built in. It's a magnet. You just swipe it across. And then as soon as you do that, you just look at your phone. It will tell you that, hey, it's turned on. It's just like magic. Purple Haze says, regarding Aerotech motors, did some more looking, seems to be RMS, LMS, and maybe DMS motors that don't have the propellant noted in RockSim. We'll do some more research. Okay. Stuart Greeley says, Tim. Hi, Stuart. Carlos says, question 2B. I meant, as a builder, how would you build those rounded tips? Curved chisels, sanding sticks, a ton of Elmer's fill and seal. I would build it like you said, probably maybe sanding sticks. If you don't have a sanding sticks, files work. If you look on our website, type in needle files here in the search bar. Just type in needle. And we have a set of 3 needle files for $6.25. That's a really good price. And you get 3 small files. You get a flat one, you get a triangle, and you get a round one. And with that, you can, you know, it gives you a lot of precision for doing things. We also have a video. I remember making a video. So if you go to How To and Guides, come down here to Advanced Construction Videos. And then you go over here to All Videos. And you do a Control F. And let's say carve. Nothing's coming up. Let's type in shapes. Okay, 13 of them. Let me, rockets that transform shape. Maybe a paper nose cone. How to repair broken fins. I did one. I swear I did one on making how to sand a wedge-shaped airfoil. That's not it. Maybe it was canopy. I'm flicking through these. No, I swear I made one. How to conformal, maybe. How to make conformal parts. Okay, so this video might show you how to sand. That's a good question. I might have to make a video on that. I like that question. But I would definitely use balsa wood because balsa wood is a lot easier to sand. Another option is epoxy. The Fix-It. You can make fin fillets. You can make globs like this. I swear I did a video on taking that epoxy. You know, this is like modeling clay. So you can shape it into that teardrop shape, stick it on the fin, and then, you know, continue to work it until it gets to that shape you want, and then let it harden. And at that point, you can start sanding it. And it will be, it's permanent. But balsa wood would probably be easier to carve. Purple Haze says Blue Jay can do Estes motors too, right? Purple Haze, his question is, again, on the Blue Jay, and I said you can only use Cicerone motors because you can only light them with E-matches. You can ignite Estes motors with E-matches as well. So yes, that's a good point. The problem is the size of the igniter. So Firewire. So Firewire and the Firewire Mini are two different E-matches. So if I open this one in a new tab and I open this one here, actually, so you can see the head size. So this is the regular Firewire. So this is the size that Cicerone uses. But the Estes nozzles have a smaller diameter nozzle. So getting this igniter into them is going to be a challenge. So you could try the Firewire Mini will work in most of the Estes motors, not all of them, not the ones with the smallest nozzle diameters. If the igniter won't go all the way in, it's not going to ignite. So you would, in this big chunk back here at the back, you're not going to be able to use the Estes plugs with them. So you're going to have to go the old school method of using tissue paper wadded up and shoved in there to hold the igniter in. But that will work. If you can get the igniter in an Estes motor, it will work. Purple Haze writes, Brendan on the Rocket Vlogs channel on YouTube did an unboxing and operational review of the Blue Jay Plus. Might help. Okay, cool. I have not seen that. So YouTube, I might have to look at that. And that was Rocket Vlogs. Rocket Vlogs. Rocket Vlogs. Blue Jay altimeter. Featherweight Blue Jay. Okay, so he did do one. Look at that. There it is. Let me pause it here. So, yes. Tiny, affordable, powerful flight computer. And he did that 3 weeks ago. So there you go. I wanted to show you one thing. Purple Haze says, won't Estes igniters work with the Blue Jay? And the answer is no. Because the Estes igniters, like the Aerotech igniters, require 6 volts to ignite them. And the Blue Jay will not allow that. It will only allow, a LiPo, which is 3.7 volts. So it's not going to ignite. It's not going to burn the igniter. So you have to use an E-match. So E-matches are good, and they're great for staging, but you can only use the Cicerone or the Estes motors. So one of the things I wanted to show you, I want to just kind of show you kind of like what we're working on in RockSim Pro. I thought I had RockSim Pro open here. Okay, so here's RockSim Pro. And this is a new feature we're working on, and I think I announced it last week, so I can kind of show you now. If you'll notice up here on the button bar, there's a new one called Altimeter, and it doesn't have a logo yet. But what we want to do, speaking of the featherweight altimeters, the featherweight GPS and the Blue Raven and even the Blue Jay are recording altimeters. So they store all this great data from the flight, like not only just like peak data, like peak altitude and peak speed, but it also records all the flight information in between all that point. And so you wonder, what can I do with all that data? Well, one of the things that we want to do in RockSim Pro is to import that data, and then we're calling it replay the flight. So you launched your rocket, you got your rocket back, you downloaded the data. Now you can replay the flight. So you can actually watch it in RockSim. RockSim Pro, not RockSim, RockSim Pro. And we're going to do it like this. You're going to click on the button. I don't know what it's going to look like yet. Right now we're just calling it altimeter. And we're calling it replay your flight. And it's going to walk you through the steps because now you got to upload that data or bring it into RockSim. So I'm just going to click next. I need some data and okay, so this I'm going to be looking at GPS. So the blue, it's just like the featherweight GPS tracker. It's a recording tracker. So with GPS, you get latitude and longitude data, which is really useful. So I'm going to open up that and click open. So I've loaded the data. I'll click next. And it says, okay, I detected that it's GPS data. Because there's two types of data. There's GPS data, and then there's Blue Raven data and Blue Jay data, where they don't have the latitude and longitude coordinates. So those, it will be able to read those in as well, but then you have to input where the rocket was launched because it doesn't know. But with GPS data, we know where it was launched because it's recorded that. So then it's going to say, hey, the time data is present, the altitude, the latitude, and the angular movements are there. So let's play the flight. And then it's going to open up the launch visualizer. And so here's of this rocket on the pad. My maps are not loading, which is unfortunate. Let me turn off the weather cocking cone. So here's the rocket on the pad. And we launch it, and it hasn't left the pad yet because the device records data before it actually launches. And you can see it's doing some squiggly looking things here. And at that point, the parachute came out, and the rocket is descending on its way down. And it's doing some wild gyrations here. And eventually it will land on the ground. And if I back up a little bit, so this is the trajectory of the actual flight of that rocket from liftoff to landing. So the launch point was right here. The rocket went up, it arced over just a little bit, and then the parachute came out. And if we look at it from a top view, there's my flight. Right there, you'll see it's kind of wiggling around. And then actually when it gets lower to the ground, it starts changing directions. And you'll see all that in real time. So that is, I wish you could see the maps because then you could get a view of where this was on the Earth. And it will also do Blue Raven data, but the Blue Raven data is not quite as nice because it has a little bit of drift in it. So this time I'm going to go to a Blue Raven and then import. That's the summary. So here, this one, I'll click open, hit next. See this one, you have to enter the latitude and longitude. And this is not the site that I want. And it's not listed in here, so I'll just select it and click next. Then play flight. And again, it's going to load it in the visualizer. Let me turn off the weather cocking cone. Click OK. There's the rocket. I'm going to launch it. Again, it waits a little bit, and then it took off. I'm trying to zoom out a little bit here so you can see it. This one's going really high, 1,600 feet. And you can see the rocket kind of dancing around. And this is where, once it's under parachute, this is where the accelerometers start to drift a little bit. because the rocket doesn't, you know, it's only 1,600 feet, so it should land a lot closer than it actually is. And it's going and going and going and going. And you can see we're a long way from the launch point. But the up data, the part where the rocket is going up, is actually pretty good data because it's all based on the acceleration of the rocket and the altimeter. So you can actually use that data for something. And that's the whole point of this was I wanted to replay my flight and that was kind of weird. Purple Haze says that replay thing is cool. Well, that's good to hear. Yeah, so it's going to be cool. The whole point is, you know, not only replaying your flight, but actually comparing it to the predicted simulation. So you use RockSim or RockSim Pro to run the simulation, and then actually launch the rocket, and then replay the flight, and then replay both simulations together and see where the differences are, and then trying to figure out why I'm getting differences. So that's going to be really cool. And we're working on it, and as soon as we get it, this is RockSim Pro, and in RockSim Pro we have a lot quicker releases because we don't have to require people to do an upgrade fee since they're already paying. By RockSim Pro is a subscription, so you're paying by the month. So we just release the new features as we get them. And so as soon as we get this done, and it's moving along pretty good. There's still some issues with it, but I'm confident within the next 3 or 4 months, maybe, it should be released. Yeah. Okay, I think that's all the questions, and we are past 3 o'clock. We will be back again next week. So again, next Friday is right after New Year's Day, or 2 days after New Year's Day. So it's kind of a slow week around here. It'll start picking up the Monday after that. So it'll kind of be a laid back week again. I hope you have a great New Year's Day. Again, New Year's Day is on Wednesday. We'll be closed that day. But we'll be back on January 2nd, and then January 3rd, we'll have RockSim Live again. And so thanks again for coming. I'll give you a countdown and launch, and then we'll be out of here. So in 5, 4, 3,